Welcome to Ivanoff Retirement Insights with Paul and Travis Ivanoff. The father and son team at Ivanoff Advisors and Ivanoff Wealth Management helps clients grow and protect their wealth. Paul and Travis understand the importance of having tax-advantaged, reliable income in retirement, protecting your assets, and helping you achieve your retirement dreams. Now, Ivanoff Retirement Insights.
Welcome to another episode of the Ivanoff Retirement Insights podcast. My name is Casey, and I am here with my buddies, Paul Ivanoff, insurance agent with Ivanoff Advisors, and his son, Travis Ivanoff, investment advisor representative with Ivanoff Wealth Management. And they are here to break down some of the biggest retirement headlines from the week for us. We want to remind you that they've got an amazing offer exclusively for our radio listeners today. Our first 5 callers at 714-452-1955 can claim a spot for their Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap. No commitment, no obligation. This is just a chance for you to sit down and get those big retirement questions answered. So give the office a call, 714-452-1955. Amber and Ashley are standing by, and they will get you on the calendar. You've just got to dial to secure that spot. That number again, 714-452-1955. Or, of course, we are online at ivanoffinsights.com, and that's Ivanoff, Ivanoff. All right, so I've got a little history fact of the day, guys. The Social Security Act was signed by President Franklin Roosevelt in August 1935. So Social Security just turned 90 years old last month, but the big question is, will it last another 90 years? If Congress does not act, benefits will be cut by 23% in 2033, which is about $500 a month. So, guys, my question here is, how much do your clients depend on Social Security, and how are you helping them make up that loss?
I feel like a lot of clients these days are very dependent on Social Security. I mean, it's something you've paid in, your entire working life, and you're hoping to get what's yours and have it come back to you, right? They're not happy about the taxes they have to pay on it. But with that being said, many clients of ours like the idea of Social Security. And the big question always is, well, when do I turn it on? Should I turn it on younger at 62, or should I wait till 70 and maximize it? And, if I wait this long, I get the most money out of it. But there's not a one size fits all on that answer. And it really depends on your other assets and what those are doing for you to help. Again, Social Security is like a pension, right? That's what people are counting on. So what are your other assets doing to complement Social Security as far as producing the same kind of income?
A lot of people hear that Social Security might get cut, and they start to worry if their whole retirement plan is going to unravel. So, guys, when you're talking with your clients, what kind of practical steps are you recommending to help them prepare for these possible cuts? Should they be saving more, or are there some other strategies or tools that you're suggesting to help them make up for any potential shortfalls that could come their way?
Well, there's so many ways to claim Social Security, and in the end, we have to get a good idea of what our clients, what they want. It all depends on their health condition, their lifestyle, and then we put a plan together for them.
I would say on the Social Security side of things, if we are nervous about 2033 Social Security getting cut, well, that might be a reason to turn on Social Security sooner. Let's get as much as we can from Social Security and let the other side of your portfolio, the other assets, grow. And either, we also use fixed index annuities, so we can let it sit in something like that. That's going to give you another income. So on the chance that Social Security does get cut, well, that's not your only paycheck you're counting on. Mm-hmm. And the other side of that is we have different strategies and portfolios that we can be using to take advantage of these markets, the S&P 500, et cetera. Well, maybe if we turn on Social Security early and we let the other assets sit and ripen, it'll be an easy transition if they do that, because we'll be able to replace that income that they're going to lose. We put all that in our Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap. We put that all in there, and we can build a what if strategy. Hey, what if something does happen to Social Security? How much would we be losing, and how do we replace that? That's easy for me to build. I do it all the time, and we can build that in the Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap to give you peace of mind. Hey, whatever happens, you're not only dependent on Social Security, and we have other strategies that are going to give you the same kind of income rolling through month after month.
Yeah, Casey, it might be a good idea for certain people to take the Social Security check early, mm-hmm. even if they're healthy, because that could change. And
right.
If someone becomes unhealthy, husband and wife, eventually, if they don't turn it on, then that money never gets collected by them.
At the end of the day, you don't want the fear of Social Security to keep you up at night. But luckily, Paul and Travis and the team can help you diversify your retirement income so that you are not overly reliant on any one single source. So if you're listening, this sounds like something that you need help with. Take advantage of our offer today. 714-452-1955 is the number to dial. And those first 5 callers will receive Paul and Travis's Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap. You can sit down, look at your specific situation, and they can help you make an informed, right decision for your situation. So you got to make that call to secure your spot to have that conversation. That number again, 714-452-1955, or you can visit us at ivanoffinsights.com to learn more. All right, guys, I've got a fun one for you. Not sure if you're Broadway fans or not, but the hit musical Hamilton is celebrating its 10th anniversary this summer. And during that time, it has won 11 Tonys, a Grammy, a Pulitzer Prize, and has grossed about $1 billion worldwide. But some who have seen the show came away a little confused, like comedian Sebastian Maniscalco. Take a listen.
So this thing starts 10 minutes into Hamilton. I tap my wife. I go, I got no idea what's going on. I couldn't understand it. I didn't even know what Hamilton did. I went to this play to find out why this guy was so fabulous. And you got to understand something about my wife and I. We are dumb. I'll tap my wife. I go, you know what's going on? She's like, no, you? Nothing. We just sit there. Dumb. All
right, so Sebastian and his wife are missing the plot, and this got me thinking, guys, don't some people feel the exact same way about retirement planning? So I wanted to talk to you guys. How do you slow things down for your clients and explain the plot to them?
Well, it all starts with our Ivanoff Advisors Roadmap. We have to get an idea as to exactly what they have. We have to know every piece of the puzzle before we put anything together and give them an idea.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and add on to that. So the Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap, we can make it very basic, and we're fluent in engineer. We work with a lot of engineers, but we work with all sorts of different professionals. And what we need to understand is that what we do every day, we're very good at speaking about it to, our peers and whatnot, but I'm able to break it down, and I really use a simple bucket strategy on a lot of that. And I do a 30,000 foot view so I don't overwhelm a client. Different clients, you get to know them. You can speak at different levels as far as complexity. But at the end of the day, what I do is I just show some buckets on the screen. And so this is in the first appointment. And we talk about the purpose of money. And we didn't invent the bucket strategy, but it's a good way to make it palatable for everyone we're talking to. So you have the income bucket. All right, where's the income? We got Social Security, we got rental properties, we got pensions. What do we got coming in? Okay, great. Have that bucket dialed in. Then we have the conservative bucket. That might be for that project money or money we need in the next, 0 to 2 years or so. All right, what's in that bucket? And does the client already have something in that bucket? And then from there, we're going to go into the growth bucket. All right, this money is earmarked for, 7 to 10 years down the line. We want to add some horsepower to that. We want to see it grow. Perfect. Okay, so we have that all dialed in. And then we talk about the legacy bucket. And legacy can mean a lot of things. I add tax efficiency in that as well. And question is, okay, what kind of people are you? Are you hoping to live a frugal retirement so you can leave all the money to your kids because maybe they haven't done so hot? Do you want to bounce the last check, or whatever's left is left? And then we talk about those different strategies that are in the legacy bucket. And that could be, adding, making sure you're leaving money aside. Maybe you have a child that is disabled and you need to make sure they're set up for the rest of their life. Or maybe you have a child who lost their husband or wife, and we need to make sure there's money set aside for the grandkids. So we talk about that bucket and we go through those different strategies. And then the other bucket we jump into is long-term care bucket. And that's, that could be the dark horse in a lot of portfolios. You can do everything right in your planning, but if you haven't earmarked anything for long-term care and you're unlucky and you get Alzheimer's or dementia, that gets pretty expensive. I mean, we're in Orange County, California. It's not far-fetched to spend over $10,000 a month for long-term care. So we have income, we have conservative, we have growth, we have legacy planning, we have long-term care, not to mention Medicare and estate planning, but we kind of explain it in that way. That way we understand the purpose behind each dollar. We've talked about it in other parts of our show. The purpose of money dictates where we put it. Let's figure out the purpose, and then let's start strategizing behind that purpose. And I think most clients can understand that 30,000 foot view. And I'll tell them, look, the strategies behind might be more complex, but I need you to understand this part first so we're all on the same page.
I love hearing you talk about that bucket strategy, Travis, because I think that makes it a little more digestible for people, because I think sometimes when it comes to retirement planning, all the jargon and the advice out there can kind of be a little overwhelming for people. So I can understand how people get lost. So I like breaking it down in simpler terms. So let me ask you this, you guys, because I love action items. So for somebody listening who is feeling completely overwhelmed by retirement, could you break it down for them and make it a little simple with, let's say 3 simple steps that somebody can take right now if they're feeling overwhelmed to cut through all this confusion and start moving forward with their retirement plan?
Yeah, I think the easiest step is, look, you're not alone. There's people that do this every day. Just like whatever you do for work, whether you're a nurse or an engineer, you are probably a master at that. You don't have to walk through it alone. We love the distribution model because you're no longer accumulating. Before, you're just throwing money in your 401k, letting it grow. Now we need to work on distribution. So the 3 things I would do is just pick up the phone, take us up on our offer. We'll be able to do a retirement roadmap and really have a clear picture of where you're headed into retirement, right? Paul had mentioned it earlier, planning is better than guessing. Let's start with a plan. We'll get to know you, figure out your purpose as far as what you're trying to accomplish in retirement, and then we'll do the planning for you. You don't have to overthink it. We'll help you, and we'll make sure that it's easy to digest.
One of the things that Travis and I encourage our clients to do is make memories. A lot of times people want to just save money, and whatever they don't spend, they pass it on to the kids. They give them this inheritance down the road, well, after they're gone. And we encourage our clients, make memories. Those kids, they'll remember this for the rest of their life. Do all this while you're still alive. For an example, I did this back around 2 years ago. I took around 16 relatives to Legoland.
Wow.
We all spent the night. We had a room there. Everybody hung out. And, our family members, they talk about it to this very day. We made memories, and that's memorable. And that was a lot easier than me just leaving a lot of extra money down the road when I pass away for inheritances.
So it all starts with a plan, and you got a plan for all of that. So that's where we can help you. So if you want to take us up on those 5 spots that we currently have available, the number is 714-452-1955. Amber and Ashley are standing by. We'll get you in as soon as we can, and we look forward to helping you plan your retirement.
Yes, if you are looking for answers to your retirement questions, this is the perfect opportunity for you. Connect with Paul and Travis. No pressure, no commitment, just genuine guidance tailored to you. Those spots will fill up, though, so time to take some action. Claim yours right now. That number for you again, 714-452-1955. Or if you prefer online, you can reach out and learn more anytime at IvanofFinsights.com. I am here with Paul and Travis Ivanoff, the father and son duo behind Ivanoff Wealth Management and Ivanoff Advisors. And they are your go-to guides on the journey that is retirement. And you know this, guys, working with retirees. But there are some people out there that just never seem to slow down. I want us to take Paul McCartney, for example, here. At 83, Paul is gearing up for another tour and says he is not getting any signals to stop just yet. Take a listen.
As far as retiring is concerned, it's nothing I'm looking forward to or even thinking of. I've always said that as long as people want to come and see me, then I'll probably do it. I'll probably feel like doing it. The minute I start to feel like sort of, shuffling around in the audience and going, oh, it's not very good, is it? Or the tickets aren't selling well, then I'll get the big message of ding, it's time to go.
This really makes you think, guys. Not everyone's vision of retirement is putting their feet up, calling it a day. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this and ask, when clients come to you and say that they still love what they do and they see no reason to retire, how do those conversations usually unfold? What's that dialogue like when someone's passion for what they do is the thing that's keeping them in the game?
Well, before we answer all that, just a little story here. Way back around 14 years ago, Paul McCartney, he was late 60s, and I thought he would be retiring soon. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket to the concert, but we're at a pretty nice hotel, my wife and I. And later that evening, it had to be, actually about 1 a.m, I'm in my room, and I hear an Englishman talking out in the hallway.
Oh, my goodness.
So I looked through the peephole in the door, and my God, there was Paul McCartney and his bandmates. They're talking about the show, how much they loved it. And, part of me wanted to open the door and say, hey, I'm a big fan, but no, I didn't do that.
You should have said, hey, Paul, I'm Paul. Oh, my gosh, what a cool
story. That's right. We have a lot in common.
What a cool story. What are the odds?
I mean, we run into this all the time, and sometimes I joke in my office that we probably need a couch more than this conference table, and we become, marriage counselors or psychologists,
therapists.
Therapists. It happens all the time, but I think that's good. I think, my dad often jokes, who I've been working with forever, is, hey, I'm never going to retire. I'm never going to pack it in. I might die in the office, which could be good or bad. I don't know. But anyhow, I run into this all the time with different clients. And I think that we try to help them meet in the middle often, where, whether it's the husband or wife, we want them to know that they can retire. Because oftentimes, even if they love what they do, what we see a lot with our clientele, which is, 58 to 75 on average, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, a lot of them came from a background where, they didn't have money growing up. They had to live frugal. Their parents taught them how to be frugal. So the thought of them, packing it in when they're probably making more money than they've ever done is very hard for them. So oftentimes we have to talk clients into spending money and help them realize, like, look, you did great. You've done everything you need to do. Now we're going to build out this retirement roadmap to hopefully give you some confidence in retirement. And sometimes that is enough once they really realize and give themselves credit, give themselves a pat on the back. Like, you did it. You do not have to keep the grind up. Even if you love it, maybe you turn into a consultant or do it part-time, but you've done enough in order to start enjoying retirement. But for a lot of clients that we sit down with, that's just not how they were raised. They were work hard, save everything you got. And now you're telling me I got to start spending money and not get paychecks anymore. So that's where our retirement roadmap comes into play, where if nothing else, it's going to put it on one page and show them, like, hey, you actually could do this. You could retire. You're only working because you want to. And maybe once you know that, maybe you're not working full time. Maybe you're only picking up a couple days a week or you're becoming a consultant. We've had that happen a lot, and they kind of slowly back into retirement. But it's just giving them the clarity that they need, like, hey, you did it. You don't need to continue to be frugal. You can start spending some of this money.
Yeah, to add to what Travis just said, with quite a few of our clients, once we show them that they actually have enough to retire on, and even more so, we also ask if they have a dream number beyond what they want. And to get them in the right direction, Travis will even in the conference room get right on the screen, and he'll say, hey, where do you want to go? And we've had a client that said they wanted to book a safari. Travis got right on, showed them the various safaris, and they did it. Other clients, they put off the car of their dreams. And in the end, we show them how they can actually do that right now. A lot of people are just afraid to spend their money. And then a lot of them are golfers. They golf, yet they don't join the golf club. They don't join the clubs or any of that. So what happens? We find that if people don't actually spend their money, well, if they don't do it, their kids will. The kids are going to buy the fancy cars when they inherit. They're going to take the trips. There are a lot of young people at country clubs now that have inherited money, and they want to do the cruises and all. So if you don't do it, well, your kids probably will, and yeah, that's your retirement. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So you guys are acting as therapists. You're acting as travel agents. It's your one-stop shop. But I want to go back to Travis. I think you mentioned having a couch in the office and being a marriage counselor. And one thing I've noticed is that retirement does not look the same for everyone, especially for couples, because sometimes you have one person ready to call it a day while the other one is still enjoying themselves and is excited still to go to work every morning. And that can make planning for retirement a little tricky. So I'm curious if you can expand a little further how you help couples who aren't quite on the same page yet, whether that be financially, whether that be emotionally, or whether it be both. How do you help them come together and build a plan that's going to make sense for both of them and both of their goals?
Well, the first thing we have to get across to them is we've got to get them to find a way to compromise.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. But oftentimes they haven't even had this conversation before, until they're sitting in their office and they don't realize that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand wants to do. Hey, my wife is ready to retire. I didn't know that. And she's been wanting me to retire forever, but I guess I haven't stopped to listen to really do that. So the first thing is, during that first appointment, I will separately ask the husband and wife, okay, what's important to you? What are your values? What do you value in your life right now? Is it time with your family? Is it working? Maybe their job is very rewarding and they're really setting a difference. So we talk about that. And then values aren't the same as dreams and retirement. Okay, now let's talk about your dreams. So your values might be to continue, maybe you're working for a nonprofit or something like that, and you want to continue to give back. And that's very important. But your dream is to buy a house in Florida and just live the retirement life. Well, sometimes you gotta make a shift there. Well, I appreciate your values and what you do for work and that you include it, but maybe we need to start focusing on more of your dreams here. And I'll ask the husband, I'll ask the wife, and then it might be the first time they've ever heard that in the room at the same time, what they value about work, what they're dreaming about. So once we kind of dissect that opens the dialogue, and at least that conversation started. That might be enough to be like, you know what, I guess I never really was listening. My wife's probably accusing me of that a few times as well. But that being said, once we start that conversation, we get on the same page, we dictate what their values are versus what their dreams are. And then from there, we can start building towards that. And then, like Paul was saying earlier, you know, sometimes you got to compromise. Like, look, you know what? I'm gonna just start working 3 days a week, and I'm gonna make sure during the summers I'm taking at least a month off, because what my wife values is spending more time with the grandkids. Right? She wants to go to Disney World, go to Legoland, go visit them if they live in another state. Because let's face it, a lot of kids are leaving the state of California because it's so hard to buy a house. So their kids might be in Tennessee. In fact, I've had multiple clients buy houses next to their kids in Tennessee just to be close to them. So I think really dictating values, dreams, getting on the same page, and then finding a compromise is important. And that's what we do in our office. That's why I need a couch, not just chairs.
That's right. These conversations can be a real source of stress for couples. But I think that first step, it's like you said, Travis, open that line of communication, and incorporating the help of a professional can help you get on the same page and find that middle ground. So I just want to remind our listeners that our first 5 callers today can get these conversations started complimentary. Paul and Travis are offering you their Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap. 714-452-1955 is how you reach us to claim your spot. And I want to remind you, there's no obligation attached to this meeting. This is just a conversation. So I highly encourage you to take advantage, because this is an amazing opportunity, but spots are limited. So snag yours. That number again, 714-452-1955. One more time, 714-452-1955. Or you can connect with us online anytime at ivanoffinsights.com. That's going to do it for us on this episode of the Ivanoff Retirement Insights podcast. We'll be back next week with more great insight from Paul and Travis Ivanoff of Ivanoff Advisors and Ivanoff Wealth Management. We'll see you soon.
Investment advisory services offered through Ivanoff Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by security regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Travis Ivanoff, California CRD number 325275. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Ivanoff Wealth Management is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Ivanoff Wealth Management is licensed in your state, please call 714-553-1490. Ivanoff Advisors is not affiliated with Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Advisory services are offered by Travis Ivanoff through Ivanoff Wealth Management. Insurance services are offered by Paul Ivanoff through Ivanoff Advisors. The aforementioned are unaffiliated companies.
All content is for information purposes only. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decisions, nor is it intended to be a projection of current or future performance or indication or future results.